Welcome back, my dear students. In this lecture here, we are going to be creating the update method. All right. So this is a really exciting lecture. Now, what I want you to do is close your devices, turn them off, close your door, tell your family and friends not to bother you for at least 5 minutes, to leave you alone. All right, because you're gonna be learning something super valuable. All right. So let's go ahead and continue with this. So in the last lecture, we created a create method. Right. That's what we built. All right, we're going to create something very similar to this, but with the update syntax. All right, a structure. So right below here, I put a comment right here at the end of this create method. I like to do that sometimes just to know where I am. So we're going to create a very similar method, but with a different SQL syntax, of course, and it's going to be update. All right, perfect. Then what we are going to be doing is that we are going to be using this instance, right? So we need to bring it down right there, just like we did with our create method. Now, all right, I'm going to paste some information since I don't want you to spend 20 minutes or more seeing me writing this. So I'm going to explain it right now. And when you actually took this lesson right here, this lecture, basically we're doing the same thing here. If you know some basic PHP, all I'm doing here basically is replacing the string here, all right, with the it's actually escaping the string before I submit it to the database. So we are escaping it, and the values right here inside this object property. All right, so I'm using this so that I can actually assign it at the same time, so I can assign that value to this object property. All right, so update users, that's the table, and then we set the username equal to this username that we are getting. Now keep in mind that I got the single quotes right here, which that means it's a string. If it was an integer, we don't need the single quotes, just like right here we don't have it. So we have the single quotes right here, and then at the end we have the single quotes right here. All we do is concatenating this value right here with these two dots. All right, that's basic PHP. And then we have the little comma right here separating those string values, and that's it. All right, and then everything else is being concatenated onto the end. Make sure that here on the last name field, let me just make this a little smaller there because I'm scrolling too much to the side. I'm sorry about that. Make sure that right here you don't have a comma since this is the last item. All right, and also make sure that if you don't have a space on your next right here statement on this where SQL, make sure that you do have a space there. All right, because if you don't, then this where is going to be together with this string right here and the comma, and it's not going to work. All right, so make sure you have a space there. The next thing that we want to do is actually send this query to our database. So we're going to use the object database, and we are going to be using our method query. All right, and we're going to send in the SQL right there. All right, so that's it for that. Now we need to find a way to check if this information was submitted properly, right? If everything was successful. So we want to return true, and if it was successful, we want to return false if it wasn't. But this one, we're going to build it differently than the create method. In the create method, we check to see if the database query was successful. Because if it was successful, that means that we were able to insert data into our table. But with the update, all right, we need to make sure if the fields were affected in a way, so that way we know that something was modified. So the way I'm going to do this, I'm gonna build this instead of an if statement. I'm gonna use the shorthand version, which is a ternary, and I'm just gonna say return. And I think I showed you this before. This is a ternary operators. All right, this is just to replace the if version of the if conditions. All right, the if statement. So I'm gonna say MySQLi affected. This is a function that I'm going to use that is available. It's already defined for us. It's available in the MySQLi API. So if MySQL affected rows, and we got to provide the database connection. So this is the object that we got with a property connection. This is our connection right here, and you know that from the database right here. See that from the database class. So once we provide the connection, we got to say something like, if the affected rows equals 1, then we want to do something with it, right? We want to apply true to it. Else, and that's what the calling is, we can say die, or we can say return false right here, like that. All right. I think this is a very clean way of doing it. All right. I think it's gonna be very useful for your code. All right. So this is it for this lecture here. In the next lecture, we're gonna continue building on this, and we are going to find out if this actually really works. So thank you so much for watching. You're doing a great job if you're following me. And what can I say? Congratulations. You are taking a really good course that's going to show you how to be a professional in object-oriented programming. All right. And I'm going to do my best to help you. Take care, my friends, and I see you in the next one.